To be handed to
Exactly
you.
right. I mean, you got to fight for it, otherwise you get no interview. After watching the film, an amazing game, draining experience, every emotion probably exhibited from not only myself but our team through the course of the game. We overcame a lot of adversity, made a lot of plays, created some turnovers, made some mistakes, but ultimately after 115 plays on offense and about 82 on defense in 4 hours and something, we made enough plays to win the game. And I was proud of my team for that. It was a gratifying win and a lot of hard work that is paying off, with still more to go.
Any tougher for guys to get loosened up today, considering?
Yeah, they're excited to work, but their bodies look like they played a long game and traveled and came back. But they're anxious. They see a great opportunity lying ahead. They think Boise is a good football team. They're looking forward to the matchup, so I think that's serving as a catalyst to how they work today.
After last year's defensive slugfest with Boise, what are you expecting from them this year?
Oh, I think it's going to be different. Boise is completely different offensively than they were a year ago, an entirely different system. They're scoring, I think, a lot more points. I think they're more potent. I think we're better offensively as well, so I wouldn't anticipate 7-6. I don't know what the score will be, but it probably won't be duplicating that one.
Going back to the Houston game, Sky really said after the game that they went out there for that final offensive drive, and Taysom was over there smiling. That just what you expect from him at this point is just for him to be enjoying that type of moment.
It's the only quarterback in BYU history to throw for 400 and run for 100 in the same game. I mean, the players and Taysom know what's happening. They're getting better and better and better, and it doesn't mean they're perfect, but man, when you're scoring as many points as we did in that game and moving the ball the way we did, I mean, I think they're optimistic and hopeful to get the ball again.
Do you like hearing about your guys enjoying the game in moments like that when it's the game's on the line?
I love hearing that. I mean, at some point I might get to that point, but they're certainly, as they should be, farther beyond and kind of hopefully the next tier up from their coaches.
Do you expect Jamal Williams to play on?
Sure. Yeah, he will.
Can you just go into his status where he's
hip pointer, and we held him out of the second half, and I think he'll be full speed by Friday night.
What about other guys, Craig Bills specifically?
He'll play. He practiced today, which was great news, and head was clear with no headaches, and we thought that would happen last week, but pregame for some reason his headache came back.
In terms of degrees of severity, is Jamal's hip situation, does the trainer give you any indication where it kind of stands?
Oh, they say he'll be ready to play by Friday, so no limitations.
Has Terrence Aletto suffered some sort of setback? He's not even on the depth chart now.
It's been the exact same injury. It's until his strength returns, which is actually he's really close. Rather than just put him on there without a chance that he'll play on a given week, he's off until he can play.
Broncos, you're talking about injuries. What about Boise State? Their quarterback got nicked up last week. What do you expect from them this week?
We saw their other quarterback come in, and man, every team has good players, and so the other quarterback came in and ended up having a really successful game, not only running it but throwing it, something like 18 out of 21, and then ran for all kinds of yards. So Boise's a good team with a good system.
Can it be easier to scout a more experienced quarterback than maybe one with limited film?
Yeah, I think so, because the game plan was for their starter. It shifted quite a bit when their backup came in, and so where it goes from now, I don't know.
When you break down Boise's defense on film, what concerns you the most?
Well, they're just coached well, and they play hard, and they're physical, and they're used to winning. So it's just going to be a great game.
How big of a concern were the 8 sacks that surrendered to Houston?
They were big, considering the 80 yards and the extra toll it takes on Taysom. When you throw it as many times as we are throwing it, protection is going to be tested, and with over 115 plays, we're probably ready for, I don't know what percentage of those at a high level, but probably not 115. And so eventually we'll catch up to that, but the number of plays is exceeding our execution. If you call not 41 points and all those yards, not good enough execution. So yeah, I'd like no sacks, but kind of a trade-off right now.
Alani Fuda came up with a decisive interception in the fourth quarter for second week in a row. How big is he been for the defense in the fourth quarter?
When you have Spencer Hadley and Kyle Van Oy and Alani Fua on the field at the same time, that's a pretty amazing trio of linebackers, so I was impressed.
He played some nickel. Do you expect that to go forward, or is that?
I like the possibilities because of, as I mentioned, it gets all three of those players on the field at the same time, and I think it gives us a lot better pass rush, and our edges are faster with that look.
So Spencer Hadley at outside linebacker permanently, or is it?
I'm not sure. For the last 2 weeks he's been, but I'm not sure whether it's permanent or not.
Boise State has won 21 straight games against teams from Utah. Do you feel like you guys are kind of carrying the Utah banner Friday into this one?
I think our own banner is heavy enough right now, so maybe at some point we'll carry more than that, but just ours is enough for now.
How do you explain that?
relationship with Coach Peterson?
Yeah, he's a great friend, a really good person, and in the head coaching world, he's one of the good guys, meaning that I think he has balanced priorities in his life, a really good marriage, a great family, and he runs his program, I think, with a lot of class. And so on the different functions, myself, Mike Riley, Oregon State, Jim Grobe from Wake Forest, there's a group that I've kind of become close with, and Chris is really good.
How do you explain Boise's stranglehold over Utah programs, including they're 3-0 against you guys?
Yeah, they have a good program, and I think have built a lot of momentum and confidence through playing in the WAC for a long time, and uncommon for Boise to have really any losses at this point in the year. So I think as we're finding, as Utah's finding, as TCU's finding, as you continue to play harder and harder teams and more of them, sometimes that changes, but they've earned every win they've gotten, and they've just done a really nice job with their program.
Coach, can you talk about Mike Hague and what he means to the defense just coming back?
Mike Hague finally came back. I mean, he's been nicked up and beat up and bruised and battered and et cetera, and he came in and really provided. We gave up 6 points in the second half, and Mike had a lot to do with that. He played really well.
Can you talk more about his character?
He's tough. He's resilient. He made a choice to come back when anyone could have left and been done a year ago, but he loves the program.
Have you tried to schedule Wake?
Yeah, we have actually, and can't give you any update on it, but that'd be good.
Taysom's workload at running 115 plays, is that a concern moving forward? Or
Eventually I'd like the rest of the execution to alleviate that to some degree, and again, kind of a work in progress to this point. He's so good running it, and game was really, really close, and so unfortunately, or fortunately for us, we had him and he could carry it maybe more than what we had anticipated.
Did his heavy workload with the amount of runs he did and the amount of passes he threw, did any of that have to do with Jamal being out in the second half?
Oh, a little bit, sure. But when it comes down to it, you want your best players with the ball, and so the kind of the undercurrent, though, that no one really has mentioned is if you go back and look at all the critical plays that Skylar Ridley made, I'm not sure that's not the storyline of the game. Hard to look at that with all the statistics Taysom had, but Skylar Ridley he made a lot of great plays.
You said after the game, just talking about the defense and the amount of yards and points, going back and looking at it, did you notice anything more just as far as the defensive play?
Gave up 30 points, one of which I clearly thought was pass interference, but not called, and then a 3rd and 22 where we broke an assignment. So you can easily look at that 16, but you can also look at the execution that didn't produce that. But one of the wildest beginnings of a game that I've ever seen, and so a lot of adversity right off the bat. But a great game.
On that 3rd and 22, after looking at that on film, what exactly happened there? It looked like
just a guy in man coverage came up on the quarterback rather than stay in coverage. It wasn't. We saw it on the film, saw it on the field right when it happened. And we actually had a linebacker in second contain, and so the defensive back just came out of coverage.
On the kickoff return, was that just sloppy tackling?
That guy was really good, is what it is. And sometimes really good players make plays, and that's what happened. All right, thanks.